Okay, good morning guys. This is David Rizzo with Rogers Gardens. And today we're going to do March in the Garden. So March in the Garden. So this time of year is always a transition. We might start out a little bit cooler, and then as we go into March and even into close to April, we'll start warming up. But the good thing is you'll always see, we'll probably get some little storms. It might have some little rain here and there. But the one thing going into daylight savings, we get warmer at night. So this is a big transition as we climb out of winter and start heading into spring, but sometimes it can be a slow start. So we're going to go through a lot of the vegetables today. We're going to go through a lot of other stuff. Another thing to hit on with this weekend, we're doing Tomato Mania. So Tomato Mania, we have all our tomatoes. So all our tomatoes, Tomato Mania. So I will go through some of my favorites closer to the end. So got all those. So this weekend, Tomato Mania. So let's get started. And if you guys have any questions, save your questions for last and we'll answer a few at the end, okay? Let's get started. So first thing with the vegetables. This is a really interesting time of year because we're climbing out of winter and we're going into spring. But what I do is I do a lot of the quicker vegetables right now. Like I'm not putting a lot of broccoli and I'm not putting a lot of cauliflower in because we're pretty well done with the season. So right now I'm looking at all the lettuces. So I'm looking at like the Bib lettuces, the romaines, all the different varieties of lettuces, because lettuce really likes the cooler weather. You can't fool me, Mike. I see you're hiding in the bushes over there. You're not fooling me. Hi, Mike. How you doing? But anyway, back to the. So lettuces, all your greens, arugula you can do right now, lettuce, spinach. So that's why I'll really push a lot of this stuff right now, because we're going to start transitioning in later in the month and next month a little warmer. So do your spinach, do your lettuce, do all your greens. Now's the time to do strawberries too. This is my favorite. Seascape is my favorite strawberry. So the reason why I love Seascape, it is an everbearing type. So we have sequoias, we have seascapes and chandlers, but if I can get a hold of seascape, nice little plants in the color packs. These are nice little rooted plants. And it's really important with strawberries when you do plant them, get them early. You know, if you can get them in February and early March, now's the time to plant them. If you're planting them in June or July, it's too late by then. So if you want a good strawberry crop, do them now. But the main thing, full sun. They'll take a little bit of shade, but full sun. That's important for them. So moving on with that. So you got the spinach, you got all the lettuce, all the greens. You can still do all the kale. The kale works right now. This is the lacinato. I do onions too. This is a really good short day onion called Candy. I'll do Candy long day onions, and look for the varieties like. And the scallions are fine, but if you want them to bulb up, it's very important to do that. They call them SD, or the short day. We can't grow Walla Walla onions here because we're so south. Up in the northern parts of Oregon and Washington, they will get longer days than us, and so that's why they'll do the LDs, or the long days. So that's important if you grow onions. And so moving on, herbs. Let's go through herbs. And so it's a little early for basil. If you guys are getting into putting your basil in, we have it right now. But the most important thing with basil, if you plant it in the ground or pots, cover it at night. Put a hot cap on it, cover it, and keep it warm. Basil likes warmer, drier night temps and a little bit warmer night temps. So right on that edge, I'm getting holy basil, which is your Tulsi basil. That's your tea basil. I got your pesto basil, your Italian sweet, which is really good. I'm getting my other favorites. I love the Thai basil. So this is cinnamon basil, which is a relative to the Thai basil. So the Thai basil is coming in. If you want to support the bees, African blue. It's not as much of a culinary basil, but it's a good one to help the bees. Definitely protect them from the colder nights. So your rosemaries right now, like your Tuscan blue, your Spice Island, your ARP, all your cooking rosemaries are coming in. I'm getting lavage or lovage in. No, this is parsley. I take that back. This is up. See, you caught me, Sabrina. I made a mistake. This is not lovage or lavage. It's parsley. But I love Italian parsley. It's one of my favorites. So, one of my favorite mints that I love. This is Mint the Best. So this is a really good one. I love to put this in green tea. Moroccan, mint the best. I will put this in a little terracotta pot in full sun and I'll water it heavy, but I love putting this in green tea. Look, smell it. Oh, I love the smell of it. So good for green tea. Chamomile is okay to plant right now. It loves to start off in the cool weather. And then it picks up as it gets warmer, and then they use the flowers. And chamomile is for a tea, it's a relaxer. So good one to use. Lavage, we got it, lavage. So that's a good one to use. It's actually a cousin of celery. They use it a lot in Europe in soup. So lavage or lovage, good one. Cilantro, you can't beat. Love putting the cilantro in right now. Now, if it gets too tall, what you want to do with cilantro is you want to miss that new growth. So don't cut on the ground, cut above it. So when you cut it, then you're going to use, as it all falls over everything, and David loves to make a mess anyway, so this is what I use. Fresh cilantro, I love it. So that's a good one. Good pair of sharp scissors, and don't be afraid to cut it. So moving on, we got, and so that's pretty much the end. I didn't bring any dill up, we're low on dill, but you can do dill right now, fennel, English thyme, French thyme, all the salvias. The salvias are going to start coming in. We're just sort of low on them right now, but like the Chef's Delight and the dark grays and all those skinny, really good cooking sages. So that's with the herbs. Let's run through seeds really quick. I'm going to go through seeds all the time. Oh, this is so good. You could take lavender in this and make a tea out of it. So really good. So let's go through seeds really quick with the vegetables. And with all, like, even though I'm sort of backtracking, I like to talk about my favorite. This is my favorite lettuce seed. It's called Gourmet Baby Greens. It has a bunch of mixture lettuces. I like the rocket, but the one of the arugas that I really like is, I didn't find it, but it's called Astra. So I do Astra arugula. You can do all the bok choys, all the little bok choys. You direct sow these in the ground. Don't plant them in containers. Direct sow them in the ground. And you can start doing you can do your tomatoes right now and your tomatillos. So I brought up chocolate cherry, good cherry tomato, sun gold cherry from seed. The giant tomatillos, you can start doing the one that's bumblebee mix. That's a good cherry tomato mix. We got some of the smaller snacking peppers, like the Yummy. This is Yummy Bells, which is like a little lunchbox type. Good one. You can do your root crops right now. Your French baby carrots, all your carrots. Plant them now, direct sow them in the garden. You can do your radishes. Like this is Easter egg mix. I do like French breakfast, but I didn't bring it up. I couldn't find it. The gold beets, the Touchstone gold beets, and the purple beets, and all of them. It's not late to do your herbs too. You can start seeding your basil right now. Your chives I can seed. Your Genovese basil you can seed right now. And then the little cat treats like the barley oatgrass you can seed right now. And here's some ones that I like. I do start seeding the sunflowers at the end of the month, closer to April, but these are the mammoths. So if you like harvesting your own sunflower seeds, mammoth is the one. I love this seed company called Southern Exposure. This is mortgage lifter. You can see that now. And then the basil. I always start seeding the basil right now because when I seed the basil right now, as it comes up in 4 to 6 weeks, it's going to be warmer and then it's going to take off. So it's good to seed that. The beets more into April. So a little bit early for those because again, it's still too cold at night for some of that stuff. So moving on. I really am going to go through the annuals really quick. I didn't bring a lot of annuals up, but you can do pansies right now. You can do your violas right now. These are great. Now, if you do violas, they'll go farther into spring, almost summer. Pansies will probably cut off as we get hotter and more in late April. So, what was I going to grab? Oh, here go the other one. So, you can still do stock. Stock is so fragrant. Oh, smell that, Sabrina. It's so good. And then the marigolds. You can do your marigolds right now. And marigolds, if you plant them around tomatoes, if you plant them at the foot of the tomatoes, the marigolds are going to keep the hornworms away because they think the tomato is the marigold. They don't like the smell. So a lot of caterpillars don't like the smell of marigolds. So, and this is another sun gold cherry, one of my favorites. I'm going to talk more about those at the end. So moving on, you can still do your biennials. You want to get them in now. Don't wait. So delphiniums and foxgloves, you got to get them in now. If you wait any longer, they're not going to really bloom. But get your biennials in now. Shifting gears, I love perennials, and a lot of times in winter we push annuals a lot because annuals there's not a lot of stuff blooming. But when you go into spring, now's the time to plant any perennial. And perennials are annual is going to last for usually a season and finish out its life. Seed, they're going to grow, seed, and die. They're going to finish out their life annually, so they only last for a season, or maybe even only 4 months. Perennials can last more than a year. They can last 3 years, or they can last many years. So perennials, you get more bang for your buck. I guess the only thing with perennials is sometimes it's hard to find plants that will stay smaller. Most perennials can get bigger. So this dianthus, which is in the carnation family, great rebloomer, great perennial, so that's a good one. I always like to talk about my favorite perennials. So Gara is a big bush and the butterflies love it. So you have the pink flowering Gara and you have the white flowering Gara, so that's a good one to plant right now. You got the Garas. You have the Armeria. I love the little sea thrifts, they're coming in. One of my other favorite plants, I really love the erodiums, the little erodiums. This one is Fran's Delight, which is a little lavender. These are so great. They never stop blooming, so I love the erodium Fran's Delight. Your poppy, which is our state flower. When you plant these, if you want poppies and wildflowers, put them in your garden, let them rebloom, and they'll come back year after year from seed. So that's the California poppy. Really good drought tolerant daisy that's from South Africa called Arctotis. This one is a variety called Wine. You could put this with a lot of your drought tolerant, like you could put it into a native garden, you could put it into a drought tolerant garden, but these will bloom so long. When they're done bloom, like when they shoot up this long stem, scissors, I push the stem all the way down and cut it. And so any of these, this is a new one, but when they're done blooming, you always push your scissors all the way down and cut it right down here. So that's a good drought tolerant daisy. You go into the brachycombs, the Australian daisy, the Swan River daisies they call them. These are such long bloomers, so I love the brachycombs. You got Scabiolus, like got some good proven winter stuff. Let's bring out some of the proven winter stuff. I didn't bring a lot of up, but this is a really good Scabiola called Stardiva. These are great for hanging baskets and window boxes. So you want a lot of color. You have to give them a little extra water when you first put them in. This is a good one, and this is a type of one of your to some of your. This is called Bright Lights Double Moon Glows. So another good proven winter stuff. And hi Randy. Randy's videotaping me. Hi Randy. How's it going? Hey, and then moving on, you're getting a lot of the Bidens. That's a good daisy. And then I love the salvias. So the salvias are starting to come in. So salvias are great for the hummingbirds. This is actually called hummingbird sage. This is more of your salvia misty, mystic spires and misty. These are good for the bees, better for the hummingbirds. But we're starting to get some stuff in for some of the pollinators. So all these daisies right here, they're great for the butterflies. So this is called Scaviola, the pincushion flower. This is a great one for the butterflies. They'll draw the pollen off the flowers. The pollen, not as much nectar. The salvias will have more nectar, but this is the one to plant for butterflies. And then we're getting some of the white sage in. White sage are nice. Look at little 4-inch Salvia apiana. So we're getting some nice white sages in. And so just whether there's so many perennials, we're getting heathers in, we're going to start getting penstemons in. So if you want to do a perennial garden, this is the time to do the perennial garden. So shifting gears again, we're don't forget, don't wait too late to plant some of your bulbs. So like now is the time. You don't want to wait. So I always try to get most of my bulbs planted as we go more into March, but late April, it's getting late. The dinner plate dahlias. You can put these in pots. You can put them in the ground. Good between roses. Love the dahlias. The gladiolas are nice. So if you want to do a cutting flower, cutting garden, you got your dahlias, you got your glads, really good bloomers. If you have a shady area, you can do the little double begonias. These work great in a hanging basket in the shade. Same area you would put fuchsias, so those are really good. Canna lilies are coming in. So cannas you would put out into the yard in the sun. And then we're getting more of the little double begonias. This is just yellow and orange. You're getting the Amaryllis belladonna. These are great fall bloomers, but you plant them right now. The caladiums are coming in. So if you have a shady patio, caladiums are good. I got some different colors. This one is white Christmas. But caladiums are easy to grow in shade. You could even grow them in the house. And this one was called Carol Wharton. So that's a good one. So don't forget to do your bulbs. And where did I just put potatoes? I love potatoes. My favorite. So one of my favorite purple ones, this is, I thought it was, and I grabbed the wrong one. I love Purple Majesty and German Butterball. So 2 favorite potatoes. What you do with potatoes, like I said last month, don't want to be too redundant, right, Sabrina? You'll take a 15-gallon container or a pot that's 17 by 17. Put this much of soil in it. Take your potatoes out and put 5 potatoes in the bottom and backfill it. And those potatoes will grow all the way to the top. And that long stem is what you want to get more potatoes. So it's very important to plant your potatoes deep. If you barely put them under the surface, they're not going to get many potatoes. They need that long stem, so that's important with them. And you water them periodically, and it takes them a while, but I always like to do fresh potatoes in containers. Easy one to grow. Moving on. How much time? How are we looking on time?
About 10 minutes.
Okay, so we're still doing good. So another thing that I like to touch on is roses. So when we go into March and April, March is a month. Look at the roses, because we're starting to get all of our roses in. So one of my favorites, I love Yves Piaget. This is one of my favorites, and yes, the branch got broken, but I love this rose. It's a really good French Romantica. So it's like what they call a peony rose, but I love so many roses. I used to really work on a lot of rose gardens for my customers a long time ago, and Double Delight, and we're getting like all the newer ones. You got some good pink ones like Bewitched. There's some good white ones like Pope John Paul II. So Love Song. There's so many really good roses right now. So come in and look at them. You can see them on our website, but definitely this is the season for roses. And if you haven't fertilized them yet, feed them. So I always go through the pink on them, so they're nice and pretty. But so this is a good fertilizer, but if you didn't feed your roses in January or February, feed them now. It's too late to prune them back, so you don't want to prune them back now. They're flushing all that growth. And so, but now is to fertilize them. If you haven't given them any Epsom salts, give them a little bit of Epsom salts for the magnesium. So really important. I love my tools. This is one of my favorite tools for scratching the fertilizer. So the little hand rakes work good. So when you throw the fertilizer down, I go by handfuls, but if you're doing weights, usually each rose will get like about a half a cup to a cup. I don't overdo it. And then about a half a handful of your Epsom salts. But very important, at least 2 to 3 times a year, use Epsom salts because it's a good source of magnesium for your roses. So, and then even for vegetables, for fruit trees, I use the all-purpose. I know a lot of people get into so many different fertilizers. I keep it very, very basic. So this vegetable garden, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, squash, but I will use this for apples, peaches, plums, nectarines. Good higher phosphorus at 6, but it's the calcium in here. So some people buy so many different fertilizers, I don't. The only thing I would do differently is with citrus, I'll use the citrus mix for oranges, for lemons, limes, kumquats, all that. Citrus like more minerals. So this has more of your sulfur, your iron, your zinc. So good for the citrus. Now another thing that I do I love using this. This is one of my favorite other fertilizers, and I do this a lot if the soil's not that good. So this has beneficial fungus in it like mycorrhizae, and mycorrhizae will help. It more or less colonizes with the roots, and it helps break down fertilizers. But I really like using mycorrhizae if your soil's not that good. So that's important. And switching gears before I do, acid. Yeah, if you haven't fed your azaleas or camellias, this is your acid. Blueberries too. So very important to fertilize now. I love tools. These are my favorite tools. And Sabrina, ask me why these are my favorite tools.
Why are they your favorite tools?
So this is an important thing with me is I love tools. I really scaled back my tools, but I do like stainless steel because they don't rust. So I like a good digging trawl for planting, you know, nice and pointy and not too wide so you can dig in the soil with it. This is a good little scoop if you do a lot of patio gardening. You always are having a hard time getting potting soil out of a bag. This is a little scoop, sort of like a candy scoop. So I like this for scooping out soil for pots. This is good for just raking and just general purpose. So three favorite tools just for everything. I wanted to show you, here's my tool, my love of tools. We got in the root slayer. So one of my customers actually bought me one of these, and these are the greatest tool. They're really heavy duty. You know, look at how heavy duty these are, but what these really are good for, they have a divot in the blade, so these are really good for digging out and transplanting stuff. So if you have plants, or if you have plants that are hard to get out, even weeds, but you got to be careful. This one, root slayer. So this is a new one, and metal reinforced pole. It's welded, it's tack welded. You have a good step on here. So one of my favorite new tools, and yes, I will probably buy one. We got 5. Okay, running out of time. So what I'm going to do now I am going to talk about my favorite subject. And what's my favorite subject? Tomatoes. So we're doing Tomato Mania. I'm going to do a little plug. So we're doing this little box too. These are all the tomatoes of the year. So if you want a little pre-made box, these are all just one. It's a grab and go. It's great. You have some good instructions from Tomato Mania on here. So this is a good little box. If you're unsure about which varieties to grow, you got some good varieties in here. So little pre-made box. But now we're going to talk about David's favorite varieties. And so we're going to motor through these. Okay. I know I'm going to be all over the place with these, but one of my 2 favorite tomatoes that I love. And I have a lot of favorites, but these are the ones I will put in a pot or on the ground every year. I love black crim. I love the purple black tomatoes because they're black crim. I love chocolate sprinkles. Little grape tomato, so prolific and so sweet. So I love these 2. And then we just are at the tip of the iceberg, Sabrina. So Harvard Square, that's a good one. Mild flavor, but good flavor. Cherokee chocolate, big slicer, really sweet, good producer. Jean Flamme, one of my favorite little orange tomatoes. If you have a hard time growing tomatoes and you're near the coast, this one is a good one because they're so sweet. It's a French heirloom. So Jean, or they sometimes say Juan Flamme. I say Jean Flamme. And purple calabash. It's another more big slicer. What's this one? I don't know the name of this one. We have a no name. I don't know what that one is. And that's not good.
We got a rogue agent.
We got a no name. Okay, so we found it. Caspian pink. So that was the last one. This is a really good sweet slicer. Caspian pink. We found it. San Marzano Ridorto. So how many of you guys like making your own? I make a ton of pizzas. I just got a 50-pound bag of flour to make thin crust pizzas from the East Coast. I paid enough, got one of my other favorite flours, but this is giant San Marzano Ridorto. So if you make your own sauce, like I do, but the most important thing when you do when you're doing sauce tomatoes, this is very important. Add extra calcium. If you get a hold of fish bone meal or a bone meal or a cow mag, These need extra calcium to develop, so that's very important. Gladiator is another really good sauce tomato, big saucer, big marinara tomato. Hillbilly potato leaf. This is such a prolific orange-yellow variety, and they're big. They're half a pound to a pound. This one always produces a ton of tomatoes. Love the one. Love that one. You got dwarfs. I'm going to go a little bit about dwarfs. So I've experimented with a lot of dwarfs. I've had good luck with them and sometimes not as good luck. I think a lot of the dwarfs need really hot weather. But one of the ones that I really find is, this is a new one that I'm trying, Tennessee Sweeted. So, and then I'm going to go through, let's see, I've done good with Saucy Mary. That's a good little green dwarf. And then I've done good with Wild Fred. Wild Fred is a good one. And there's a little yellow one. I think this is it. I don't see the label, but I think this is Dwarf Lemon Ice. It's a little tiny sort of heart-shaped yellow tomato. Really good flavor. What else we got? We got Clint Eastwood Rowdy Red. So one of the guys I Fest.com. He's a great seed company too. So Gary Ibsen is a really cool guy, and so he developed this tomato and they named it after his friend Clint Eastwood. But the great thing about these is they're little tomatoes and they're good for roasting. So if you like roasting tomatoes, and Clint Eastwood Rowdy Red, that's a good one. Blood Moon is a new one that I'm trying. That's a newer variety, more medium slicer. Bloody Butcher is a really good little red slicer from the southern states. Alice's Dream, another newer one that I'm growing this year. Let's see, let's go grab the other ones. And I got more. Can you believe that, Sabrina? I got more.
We got 2 minutes.
Got two? Uh-oh. David's starting to sweat because we got 2 minutes, but it's okay. Madame Marmont is a really good slicer. It has sweet flavor. It's a pretty good producer, even closer to the coast, but you'll get anywhere from a ½ pound up to 2 pound tomatoes. But tomato of the year, good slicer. Let's see. This one is Persuasion. This is the tomato of the year. This is a really new one. I haven't had a chance to grow it yet, but I am growing it. I'm growing it from seed this year. It comes from one of my other favorite seed companies called Wild Boar Farm. And Brad Gates is such a great guy on hybridizing, trialing all these. So it's a little tomato, sweet, more of a intense flavor to it. So definitely try this one. And Sun Gold Cherry, I love Sun Golds. And then I already talked about, Prairie Fire. So this was a sleeper. I'm a little surprised with this because I grew it last year and I got the seeds from my other favorite company called Baker Creek Seeds. I planted it, but I forgot about it, and the other plants buried it. And when I was taking out my plants in late fall, it was there, and I harvested it, and they're really good little long Roma tomatoes. Sometimes they call them artisans. So it'd be like Bronze Torch is a good one, Shimmer, and then Prairie Fire. Very good sort of artisan type of tomato. So I think that wraps it up. So now if you guys have any questions for David?
The only question that came up is when they plant 5 potatoes, how many potentially could that grow?
You'll get a pretty good amount, because usually with potatoes, she's asking, if you put 5 seed potatoes in a bucket, how many will you get? Potatoes, really, you have to do more of them to get more. But sometimes, oh gosh, I might pick a couple pounds. So out of 5 seed potatoes, oh man, I might get like 5, 8, 10 pounds. I love to always, when I'm done, dump them out and let them dry. I let them dry on my lawn. And then I sometimes put them in partial sun, because if you let them dry in the full sun, the skins can get green, and you don't want to eat green skinned potatoes. So, yeah.
And then what's the best fertilizer for potatoes?
I don't feed them that much. I don't feed them that heavy. I'll use a good potting soil, like the Malibu potting soil, but I really don't fertilize them that much. Very light, because if you overfeed them, you're going to get more foliage than potatoes. So that's why don't feed them that much. I just put them in a good draining potting soil. I might put a little bit of the down to earth all-purpose, but I don't feed them that much because I don't want them to push all that nitrogen.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're all good for today.
Thank you for joining me today. This is David Rizzo signing off. And if you guys have any questions, come in and see me. I'm here most of the part of the week. And don't forget to follow us on on Facegram, Instagram, and Facebook. So follow us, and then, but if you have any longer questions, come and see me. I'll be here all week for Tomato Mania too. I didn't talk too much, but we're starting to get some good peppers too. So that's another thing on the like incoming, that it's still a little early, but again, protect them. If it's cold at night, protect them. Cover them, hot cap them, be safe. Okay, happy gardening, guys. I like to talk with my hands. Bye. See ya.